listening to Best Forevers, a podcast for kindred spirits. I'm Alysa Lucas, and this week I'm going all in with Central Michigan University's women's head basketball coach, Sue Guevara. I'm a fan of sports, I'm a fan of basketball, and I'm a fan of this specific women's basketball coach and team. In my time at CMU, I've been impressed and inspired by Coach G, her ability to communicate and to build a culture of trust on and off the court. To me, these are qualities that can be applied to building meaningful relationships. So although it may seem unusual to talk to a coach about friendship, it's from others like coaches where we may learn the most about how to be good friends. Even more, I think this conversation with Sue confirms for me that, simply put, friendship is everywhere. Friendship is not one thing, and it can be seen in the likeliest of relationships and the unlikeliest of relationships. So let me tell you a little bit about Coach G and CMU's women's basketball team. According to the CMU Chippewas webpage, Sue's tenure at CMU in the last decade has, quote, taken the Chippewas to a level of success not seen in Mount Pleasant in more than a generation, end quote. Sue has coached for over 38 years and has just finished her 11th season at CMU with a signed contract through 2023. Maybe more importantly, she was just named the K-Yao National Coach of the Year. She is CMU's winningest women's basketball coach, has 326 career wins, has 7 seasons at CMU with over 20 wins, and ended this season with Team 50 with 30 wins, a CMU record, and they were ranked 20th overall, making the NCAA tournament and the Sweet 16. Thus, as you can imagine, after everything I've just said, the 2017-18 season is the most successful one in CMU's women's basketball history. But Sue would say this is about the players. And besides leading on the court, they have various awards and record-breaking goals, with many players also being honored academically. Simply put by CMU's athletic director Michael Alford in the Detroit News article from April 18, 2008, written by Tony Paul, quote, student athletes thrive in this program, end quote. So here is a special Best Forevers looking into Sue's coaching, communication style, the culture of player trust, communication, and bonding that she builds, and of course, a reflection of Team 50. What made you choose coaching as a profession?
It was kind of something I've always wanted to do, but Alysa, way back in the day, coaching really wasn't an option. It was more you go into nursing or you go into teaching. I have aunts that are teachers and or some type of administrative role. And actually, I started my college career academically in nursing.
Wow. Okay.
So, but while I was in nursing school or doing the pre-nursing stuff, I spent a fair amount of time on the softball fields in Saginaw.
Yeah.
Or I was still playing rec basketball. And that's really where I felt more at home than anything.
Yeah.
And when you looked at coaching at the time, and this was before Title IX.
Okay, yeah.
So there really wasn't, you couldn't make a living out of coaching. And so I went into nursing. And long story very short, I was dismissed from the nursing school for getting into a verbal disagreement with an instructor. And thinking back, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And my passion, again, was the softball field or the basketball court. So I went to Saginaw Valley State to be an athletic trainer.
Okay.
Because I really enjoyed, the health and medicine and how things worked. And I could still be around athletes.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I can still be on the softball field. I can still be on the basketball court, but as an athletic trainer.
Yeah.
Well, so I did that, and lo and behold, back in the early 80s, brand new women's basketball coach came to Saginaw Valley, and Alicia, I walked in her office, and I said, if you ever need any help with anything, just let me know. she let me know 2 days later that if I wanted to come and help her, I could.
Yeah.
And I don't think I got paid for it. So I became an assistant women's basketball coach while I was going to school.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started. I will tell you, though, my very, very first job, was coaching 7th grade girls.
Oh.
And it was back at St. Stephen's Elementary, and I graduated from St. Stephen's.
Yeah.
So that was my very first coaching job. But once I got into it, I've been in it ever since.
Yeah.
It's only been 38 years. It's just something I love this profession.
Mhm.
It's really evolved.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can make a very good living at it. Now there are more men in the profession coaching women. So, one of my charges is to make sure my assistant coaches, if they so desire to become a head coach, is to make sure that they're ready, trained, primed, and ready to take over.
It's quite amazing in terms of just walking into someone's office and being like, hey, if you need something. And does that speak to your personality or your desire to stay in that feeling of being on the court or on the field? What is that? Is that Sue?
I think Sue is a risk taker.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm a risk taker. So I went in and I spoke with Marcia. Now, Alicia, I will tell you this.
Yeah.
When I was the associate head coach at Michigan State for women's basketball, Michigan had a job opening.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get a bite whatsoever.
Yeah.
And my mother, we had to take my mom to Ann Arbor for some experimental surgery.
Yeah.
So my sister and I took my mom. I brought a dress and some heels, changed my clothes as soon as she went in, and went over to the athletic department at the University of Michigan and said, hi, I'm Sue Guevara. I'm the associate head coach at Michigan State University, and I'd like to tell you why I should be the next head coach at Michigan. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
And again, long story very short, they hired me at Michigan as the interim.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was guaranteed 7 months, leaving a nice position at Michigan State. I just gotten a raise and left there to go to the University of Michigan. And I was there and got there in July. Mm-hmm. And then they made me full-time in January.
Wow.
So I take a risk.
You make things happen. Or you at least put it out there, because here's one of the things that I think of is people have dreams and they have goals and things they want to do, and they might sit back and wait. And it doesn't seem like you will sit around for that kind of stuff.
Well, I am going to tell you something, and it's interesting you say that, because I put it out there. That's part of what the book The Secret tells you.
Yeah, put it out there.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
And you have to put it out there for people to know. Mm-hmm. Whether it's in your mind and you're thinking it, and then I know that sounds corny and everything else, but I really believe that.
Yeah.
And if you want to make something happen, you better really see it in your head.
Yeah.
Before you start saying, this is what I want to do. And that's why I tell our players that all the time.
Yeah.
You are what you think about the most. Whatever you're putting out in the universe, that's what's getting back to you, because the universe is your mirror.
That is, I'm over here as a communication person, like, this is amazing, like, in terms of it's communicating with other people, letting them know. You never know when some sort of connection can help you in some sort of way. So it reminds me of networking.
Absolutely.
But it's also, we communicate our identity, and other people communicate our identity to us. So if we put out there that we're a coach, they will treat us like a coach, right? Or they will see us in that way.
Well, I think, and then that's interesting you say that, because I think that, being a coach doesn't define who I am. Yeah. Not by any stretch of the imagination. And I think if people know you're a coach, it's like, oh, they're a coach. They know what they're doing, or they did this and they did that, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, hey, guess what? I'm just, I'm a 63-year-old woman that just really enjoys what she's doing, working with young people and competing and coming to work in tennis shoes and shorts or sweats.
That's the dream.
I live the dream every day, Alicia. Every day I live the dream.
Well, no, and I think you're exactly right. We are not defined by the roles that we have. It's who we are that carries through. So
absolutely.
You talked about being a risk taker, the passion that you have, and being in the seats at a game, you can see that in you, right? And so observers, we put out in the world who we are, and people pick that up.
Well, if I'm on the court and my team is playing, a team is a reflection of their coach. Yes. I believe that. Yeah. And, and Alicia, I love to have fun.
Yeah.
And I enjoy what I'm doing. And if I'm not excited, what makes our fans get excited? And I know sometimes, fans will, they're clap and everything, but it's like, come on, you get your hands up and that's the body language. Come on. And this is what they're absolutely. So they can see, look, we need your energy.
Yeah.
They need your energy right now. Or look what we're doing. Yes, we like that.
Yeah.
So I think, and again, if you let people know how you are, and you know what, you're not going to appeal to everybody.
Oh yeah, that's
you're not going to appeal to everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I mean that's okay, and I think that to me that comes with, I want to say age, but that comes with being seasoned.
Yes. And people can get seasoned faster than maybe some other people.
Well, yes. But, and I think, they say sometimes, when you get to your 60s, you don't really care what anybody else thinks. You've put in 50 odd years. You've been through a lot. Yeah. And I do care, especially when it comes to my team.
Yes.
Especially with my team.
Yeah.
But I think, again, for my team to understand what they put out there, they are going to get back too.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important for my team. These are young women, 18 to 22 years old, to go out and meet people.
I love
and get
that
the
you
social
do that.
skills. Well, yes.
So one of the things is, for those who don't know, at the end of the games, you speak to the audience, it makes it sound like it's in the theater. You talk to the fans, and then the players go out and talk to the fans. They go up into the stands. And
and say, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Yeah, so that they can come back.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, and I can't take credit, I didn't come up with the idea of speaking to the fans on my own. That was one of my assistant coaches. And she, it was after a really big game, I would say maybe 10 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was a game we probably should have never won, and we won. And she said, Coach, you should probably take the mic. I go, what for? And she goes, well, just to thank everybody for coming. And I said, you know what, Kath, that's a pretty good idea. That's Coach Kathy McGee.
Yeah.
And I said, well, okay. So I did. And I got on. I thanked the crowd for coming. Well, lo and behold, you got to do that every game now. Win or lose.
Oh, yeah. It can probably
win or lose.
There's probably tougher days.
So when you lose, it is tougher. But again, you really want to accentuate what went right.
Yes. And
you promise the crowd the next time they come back, we'll be better at this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I again, it's the appreciation. Were they disappointed? Absolutely. Were we disappointed? Yeah. Absolutely. But there are times too, Alicia, where it's like, I've had to get on after losing a game. We just lost to a better team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and so, the last thing you want to, I get second guessed all the time, and I'm used to that, and that's okay. Yeah. But again, having our fans understand, we lost to a really, really good team. And guess what? We'll see them again.
Yeah.
And this is what we'll do to make sure the outcome is different.
Yeah. Well, it's quite amazing. That's a great idea. I didn't realize that it was a 10-year-old tradition to have you take the mic. And so a great idea from Coach McGee to have you do that. Because I think that you and the players are building relationships with the fans. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to speak with you, because I think you have quite the skill in communicating. I've said this to you before, and building relationships. So can you tell me a little bit first about how you see player-coach relationships? How would you describe that to someone who has never been an athlete or has never been a coach?
Well, I think Alicia, I was thinking about that question when I was reading it. When we are recruiting these young women to come to Central Michigan, I always tell the parents in front of the recruit, it's like, what I would like to do is I am going to treat you just exactly like your mom and dad will treat you. I'm the extension of them.
Yeah.
So, I am going to take an interest in you as a young woman first.
Yeah.
And we are going to look at your academics second. And then we're going to develop you as a basketball player. But in order to do that, you got to get to know them.
Yeah.
So again, my door is always open. I talk to our players.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I ask questions and let them know that I care about them more as young women than basketball players.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, very important. And take an interest in what they're doing, reading their body language.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot. I talk a lot about body language and the signals that they are giving me. And I will always say, you know what, Alicia, right now, you and I were having this conversation. Your legs are crossed, your arms are crossed. I'm not sure you're listening to what I'm saying. And our players will look at me and they'll, and I said, well, let me tell you why I think this.
Yeah.
So if you tell me I'm wrong, which is okay to do, let me know.
Yeah.
So it's important to me to know how our players think, how they feel, and in good times and in bad times.
Yeah.
And I will always tell our players, you will know if I'm happy or if I'm not happy. You'll always know that.
Yeah.
And if I'm not happy, I sure in hell will go to tell you what to do to make me happy. So I want you to tell me the same thing.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Yeah.
Because I want to give it to you. Whatever you need, I want to help you get there.
Yeah.
Our staff, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's why, we're in finals week right now, but if you come down this office, hallway here, I will guarantee you're going to have someone in Courtney's office, Paige's office, Heather's office, and as they go by, I'll be on my computer and I'll see out the corner of my eye and I see somebody go by. I go, hey, who is that? hey, coach, this is just me. You were on your computer, and I said, well, that's okay. You can always say hi.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hi, coach. Hey, press, how you doing? Come in here for a second. Sit down. Let's talk.
Yeah.
That's how I communicate with our players because Alicia, we put them through so much when they're on the court and off the court, and I'm a tough love coach.
Yeah.
And they know that. But I can push and be tough as long as they know how much I love them, how much I care about them.
Yeah.
And that's big that you care.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that it doesn't seem, even when people do care, they don't always communicate it well. And
they don't show it.
Exactly.
So maybe you don't communicate it, but you can show it.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge, at least for us, with our program.
Yeah. So you're talking a little bit about, you tell them exactly how you're feeling or what you need from them and that you hope they do the same. And you ask them questions and you're interacting with them. What are some other strategies that you use to build relationships with players?
Well, we read books.
Really?
We read books. And they always look at me. I go, so I really only want a 2-page paper on the book and how I want to know how they feel about things.
Yeah.
I think we take a vested interest in their families. So to build relationships with their families.
Yeah.
And we do things together.
Yeah.
We go get ice cream together. When we and not all coaches do this, but I will not miss a pregame meal
Yeah.
with our team. I like to eat with our team.
Yeah.
I like to listen to the chatter, and I sometimes I will eavesdrop a little bit, but spending time with them
Yeah.
when they're, and trust me when I tell you, like, I don't go to their dorms.
Yeah.
Because you got to give them their space.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when we're going out and doing community activities, I like it when our kids come in and ride in my car.
Yeah.
Because they want to know about what kind of music am I playing. Well, what kind of music do you like? So, you get that talking back and forth with something totally different than basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm interested, what type of books do you read? Is there a book list?
Well, I'm trying. Over the course of the years, we've read. I'm a big John Gordon fan.
Okay,
love John Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
We've read The Energy Bus.
Okay.
We've read Training Camp. We've read One Word.
Mm-hmm.
I gave the book The Secret to Tanara Moore.
Yeah.
And this year, the book we are reading is Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's varied with the team and what each team and what I think each team needs.
Yeah. And I would think that, I think I have a question for this later, but since you've brought it up, it seems like there is a level of the connections you're making leads into sort of audience analysis, if you will. Like, you're starting to understand who the players are as a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who they are. So then that team changes.
Oh, absolutely.
Each season, right?
Sometimes the dynamics change within the season.
Yeah. And so then how do you go about building the relationships among players, right? So you talk about the relationships that you build, and then knowing them, you can connect with them or know what they need, or select a book that they'll be reading that might speak to them more, or something that they might need. But how do you get the ladies together to build relationships among the players?
That Alicia, that comes with, you can see who your leaders are on the team, not necessarily on the court, but on the team. And when we have projects to be done, or when we have we go on trips and we're going on a big trip. Well, the underclassmen have no clue what to bring.
Yeah.
So I always make sure our leaders or our seniors, okay, look, you have to take care of this. We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what they're wearing. Tell everybody what they're doing.
Yeah.
When our players come on campus, they get together, they organize it, and I put it on those people.
Yeah.
So that they have to initiate the conversations. They have to find out, well, somebody's going home, somebody's not going home. For right now, they have to do they were playing pickup.
Yeah.
And okay, well, who's organizing it? And then I know for a fact that they get together and they have meals together. They plan meals together. They go to Doozies together. They go to Cold Stone together. They love ice cream.
Yeah. Oh, me
but
too.
Just getting them to, first of all, we talk a lot on the court about they have to talk to each other on the court to establish the trust on the court. I said, so if you're going to have this trust and you're going to talk on the court, that has to be established off the court too. And you have to make each other accountable. And I talk to them about making each other accountable. I talk about ask each other questions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple. Again, going out in the community, taking an older one and a younger one and putting them together so, they can see what's going on, a mentoring type of thing. So just those kind of things are what we do.
And, as I'm listening to you talk, it seems like, there are lots of different relationships that are going on here, right? You have coach to player, player to player, and I'm sure there's many other relationships with, coach, staff.
Staff and academic people and strength and conditioning and, fans.
But, and that's something that you've built by having them go out and talk to the fans. And it seems like there's a lot of time that is spent together,
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
And so it's one of those things like, this is a friendship podcast, but as we talked about before, that there's this idea that the way we build relationships, no matter what they are, is useful to friendship. But do you see, as a coach, friendships building among them?
Oh, for lifetime friendships.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
it seems
lifetime.
like a bond that cannot be broken in some ways.
Well, I think part of it, Alicia, is you're right. We spend a lot of time together. And, they share apartments.
Yeah.
They share dorm rooms.
Yeah.
So they share stories.
Yeah.
They share families.
Yeah.
For some of our players that kind of live close, they take some of the other players and with them and they go home.
Yeah.
But, they, as a team, they've all been through some really tough situations.
Yeah.
And they've come out of those tough situations much stronger.
Yeah.
And I think that we do the high ropes, and we've done it. Well, it's called the program, and it's leadership through adversity. Extreme physical pain.
Is this the one that's at like 5 a.m. or whatever?
Bingo.
I've heard of this.
And to watch them come together in some really tough times.
Yeah.
To watch them come together when one person screws up.
Yeah.
One person.
Yeah.
How do they respond? How does that person respond?
Yeah.
So they go through a lot together.
Yeah.
And I think for what I put them through for 4 years, what our staff puts them through for 4 years, I always tell them, I said, you know what? These women, when they leave here, there ain't nothing that they're not going to be able to handle.
Yeah.
Because they've been through wars together.
Yeah.
And they've been really, really good soldiers.
Yeah.
With each other.
Yeah. It's like family, soldiers, friends. I mean,
warriors.
There seems to be so many ways. I'd be really interested in how the players label their relationships with each other and with you. Do you think that when they graduate that and they move on from Central or from your other positions, do these players become friends?
They never lose contact.
Yeah.
They don't lose contact with each other.
Yeah. Or and I'm thinking with you.
Oh, no. Oh, trust me. I get all kinds of emails. And now that I'm, social media, a lot of texts, Facebook.
Yeah.
They know not to Instagram and Snapchat me or tweets.
Yeah.
But no, it's been, they come, our alums come back.
Yeah.
When we go on the road, our alums come out and watch us play. So I think it's been very, very good.
Yeah.
And having them right back, having them come back.
Yeah.
Taking pictures where they are and sending them.
Oh,
you know, so I think it's been, I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
How about that? I'm just very grateful for the young women that I've been able to coach in the 11 years I've been here.
Yeah. Amazing connections.
Oh,
Amazing connections. And in the 11 years you've been here, you've been quite successful.
Again, I've had good players and good staffs, Alicia.
Yeah.
Very good staffs.
What role does communication play in being a successful coach?
I think it's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think to be a successful coach, they have to trust you.
Yeah.
And I think, you never want to hear players say, we're successful despite our coach.
Yeah. Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You never want to hear that. I think that, again, players will go to the ninth for you if they know you care about them. Yeah. Well, how do they know if you care about them?
Yeah. You have to show
them and tell them.
Yeah.
Again, body language.
Yeah.
And verbal language.
Yeah.
And now I'm learning sign language. So, awesome. Same part of body language.
Yeah.
But I think I know our players know how much I care.
Yeah.
I know they do. And I know that because they tell me. Or when they'll walk in my office and they're having a rough day or something has happened and they come and they sit down and they're crying before. The joke around here is I make everybody cry when they come in my office. And that's why I have my tissue over there.
Oh.
And it's like, because they come in and they're sad about what's going on at home, and
Yeah.
so or wherever.
Yeah.
You know, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, classes.
Yeah.
You know, or just feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And they come in and they sit. And they
Yeah.
sit right there on the couch, and sometimes I sit right next to them. Sometimes I sit on my ball.
Yeah.
But all I do is listen and then try and help them through it.
Yeah.
And then that's building a relationship.
Yeah.
And you got to have that relationship to have a good program. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with my staff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what did I read the other day, Alysa? You hire smart people.
Mm-hmm.
You're smart enough to hire smart people, so be smart enough to let them do your job.
Yeah.
Let them do their job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So it's like, well, yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
and the other thing is I like our players to take ownership.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this isn't my team. This is their team.
Yeah.
And so that they understand the role they have on this team is so important.
Yeah.
Whether you're, injured,
Yeah.
or whether you're a player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Each role is so important. And understand, and I've said this forever, championship teams are coached by players,
Wow.
not by coaches. As soon as that ball goes up, as soon as they cross the line, Alysa,
Yeah.
and that ball's up in the air, my job's done.
Yeah. But it's everything that leads up to it. You're creating that space and that culture
Yep.
among them, and
Absolutely.
then it's up to them, right? You take them so far, and then they
Right. I mean, they know what to do, so
Yeah.
we'll just do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
just do, yeah.
And sometimes, again, I'm going to go back to it. You play somebody bigger, stronger, faster, quicker. And as long as you gave it everything you had,
Yeah.
and we came up short, what am I supposed to say to that?
Yeah.
And I always tell our players, I will not coach effort. I'm
Yeah.
not going to coach it.
Yeah.
So, that's up to you. That's not up to me.
Yeah.
So again, if we give everything we have in a game and it doesn't fall the way, we'd like it to fall, we did the process. We did everything we possibly could do.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell our players, if we follow the game plan
Mm-hmm.
and you understand the process leading up to it, then the result is the result. But
Yeah.
feel good about how we did it,
Yeah.
how we got to where we are.
Feeling good about the process, then the outcome is you can feel good about the outcome, even if it might not be the outcome that you were
Right. Because sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell everybody, Alysa, there's only one team in the country that doesn't end their season on a loss.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
And this year it was Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Everybody else ended with a loss.
Yeah.
Maybe some earlier than they wanted, but as long as you did everything you could do, I don't know what else you need.
That leads me to a really important question, and it's not even a question. It's tell me about Team 50.
People ask me about this team, and I have never, Alysa, in 38 years, ever had a team that bought in. Everybody bought in to what they bought into the process and how to do it.
Yeah. And,
coaches can say all the time, they have a mantra they can say, but, the kids don't really believe it. And
yeah.
I said from day one, when it was time to play our first exhibition game, I'm sorry, not our exhibition game, our close scrimmage against Michigan, I said, you know what? This is the biggest game we're going to play right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we played the University of Detroit a week later. Now, this is the biggest game. And so when we opened, from the minute we opened, game 1 to game 35, we weren't looking ahead. Yeah. We weren't looking back. They stayed in the present. They stayed in the present.
Yes. Yeah.
And not everybody does that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I only played 7 people, Alysa.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
So that meant there were 7 on the bench that hardly played.
Yeah.
this team was selfless.
Yeah. Wow.
And I can't say that. The 7 that did not play, they understood their role was to make this 7 better, to prepare them for the opponent we were going to play. And I told them game after game, never, ever underestimate the role you play on this team, because you, Alysa, are important.
Yeah.
You are important because you are getting Rain of Frost ready.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I made Jada Robinson the captain of our gold squad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when our captains went to the circle before a game, Jada went.
Yeah.
She hardly played, but she went.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we were drama free.
How is that possible?
I'm telling you, I know this is probably a sexist statement, but I'm coaching women and we were drama free.
No, that seems like
I mean, and that doesn't happen either.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Over half our team, we had 8 women at the academic banquet.
Yeah.
3, 5 and up. You know that.
Yes, I was sitting at the table with some of them.
Yes. And so that's translating from the classroom to the court.
Yeah.
And usually it doesn't happen that way. It goes, they're doing really well on the court, but in the classroom, well, they're skating. Well, no. So this team gets it.
Yeah.
They get it. Or they got it. I should say that. They got it. And so it was an all-in team.
That's amazing.
All-in team. And they were fun to be around.
Yeah.
And they did not care who got the credit.
Yeah.
They didn't care. Because we had 5 players in double figures. 5.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe 2 of them didn't get there and 3 of them did. And it would be different.
Yeah.
And the 2 kids that were coming off the bench were freshmen.
Yeah.
Who were all-staters,
Yeah.
player of the year.
Yeah.
Did they struggle? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they understood what their role was. And that's one thing I will tell you. I can be brutally honest, but I'm going to be very transparent.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you exactly what your role is. And if you want it to be different, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Tell me what you want. And then this is how we go about it. But understand who's playing in front of you.
Yeah.
So these are things you're going to have to do. But again, so they know exactly how I feel. And then I want to know how they feel.
Yeah.
So I ask them, and they don't get to leave till they tell me. You
wait it out, or
wait it out. Yes. This is not a rhetorical question.
Well, and I think that, it's quite amazing to think that this entire team, and I'm assuming staff and the assistant coaches and managers and so on and so forth, that everyone buying in and being drama free, that is extremely rare. And I just think of teaching small groups when you have 4 to 5 people and trying to get everyone on the same page for something that has to do with their major or their degree, that it is quite a skill to be able to have that shared meaning, having a similar level of motivation or understanding or care for what they're doing. And what do you think? Why do you think this came together the way that it did?
I get asked that question.
Yeah.
Why? Why this team?
Why? Yeah. Why?
I think part of it is Cassie Breen, Tanara Moore, and Aaliyah Swery, our 3 seniors. When they were freshmen, Alysa, they had a really rough freshman year.
Yeah.
Their senior class, and we won a championship that year.
Yeah.
It was in 2013. Their senior class, I would tell you, weren't great mentors.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I know that they vowed they were going to be different when it was their turn. And I will tell you, they were. And the 3 of them all led in different ways.
Yeah.
They all matured at different times in the course of their 4 years.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think 3 years ago when Presley Hudson and Raina Frost came in, the work ethic of this team changed.
Yeah.
Because the other players saw what they were doing and how they had the green light to do whatever the heck they wanted to do whenever they wanted to do it, because I knew how hard they were working.
Yeah.
So when Press and Raina were freshmen, we lost the championship game in overtime, last second shot.
Yeah.
Okay? That was a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
So you learn from losing. You learn from that experience. So, we go to the next year and very high expectations, won the season championship, lost in the first round.
Yeah.
What happened? Well, we got tight. It was like we had the lead, we're losing the lead. We played not to lose instead of playing to win.
Yeah.
So I think those experiences, they have been through it. There's no substitute for experience.
Yeah.
None. So they all understood it.
Yeah.
And they all understood, look, maintaining poise, maintaining, make sure we're doing a better job on the floor, communicating to each other when things maybe aren't going the way they should.
Yeah.
Understanding, okay, look, this is what we need to do, and this is what we are going to do. Mm-hmm. Not like, I hope we do it, or if we don't do this, but no, it was much more of a positive affirmation that they had on the court. And then they went out and did it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, seeing Aaliyah, she's just, I've told you this before. She's such a positive spirit, like all the time. She radiates positivity. And Cassie is like a spitfire. Like she'll just get this fire in her, and you can see she like redoes her hair bun, and she's ready to go.
Oh yeah.
Tanara's toughness. And then I was at the first home game when Raina and Presley were freshmen.
Oh, okay.
And I remember watching that game, and Raina's hustle in game one, she was all over the floor going after the ball and that sort of thing. And this lady behind me turned around, she goes, I think she's my new favorite player. And at the end of that game, when you took the mic, you said, I think you're going to want to come back and watch us. We're going to be a lot of fun.
Well, that's interesting because I do not remember that. The only thing I know that I can tell you is that Raina didn't start the game.
Yes.
Because I thought Raina had started every game, and she pointed that out to me. I don't know when.
She'll let you know.
No, Coach, I haven't started every game. I didn't start. Somebody got hurt, and I was the first player off the bench, and then somebody got hurt, and so I started for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay. But Alicia, that's a kid that came in. Again, I've said this before, wants to win the rebounding.
Yes.
Have it the record before she leaves here. Nobody comes in and says that. But she's only the second player in Central Michigan University history, men or women's basketball, that has 1,000 points and 1,000 rebounds. There are two, both women, Crystal Bradford and Raina Frost.
Wow.
And Raina Frost is 50 rebounds away from breaking the record. And she hasn't even started her senior year. Yeah. So I said, Raina, you're not going to break the record. You will shatter it.
You're going to shatter it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm a proud owner of a Raybound shirt. Have you seen those?
Oh, I've seen those. Yes, I have. I thought how clever was that? It's very clever.
I said, besides Raybound, next year it'll be Press 3 instead of Presley.
Oh, because she will break it too. You know that.
Well, so that, there's a lot of success here in it. And it seems like this culture that you created in this particular team, really took ownership. You talked about them.
Yes, they
took
did.
a lot of ownership, that there's the hard work, being different mentors, taking the experiences and moving on from them. And so I wonder, with the success that's come with Team 50, does this change how you would build relationships with the players or communicate with the players? Coming up on, now we have Team 51.
Well, we have Team 51, and we're going to have 4 new players.
Wow.
Coming in.
New culture.
Absolutely 4 new people, 2 from a different country.
Oh, wow.
Canada.
Okay.
Different country. 1 from Florida and 1 from Illinois. So all 4 they're a long way away.
Yeah.
And so the other players on Team 51 are really going to have to take them under their wing, do more like team bonding type of activities. We're going to the movies, or going to the movies, or having movie night at the dorm, or coming over to people's apartments. At the apartments, they're going to use the pool, get out there, and really get to know these 4 young women, and then helping them understand when it gets rough.
Yeah.
We don't quit here.
Mm-hmm.
Pull yourself through. You know what? Instead, you cannot quit.
Yeah.
You must walk. If your dog ass tired, you get your butt up and you walk it until you catch your breath. But this is how, and again, I'm going to go back to the players.
Yeah.
This is how we do it here.
Yeah.
We had 8 people at the academic banquet. Well, guess what? 2 of them have graduated.
Yeah.
Which one are you 2? Which one are you 4? Or so understand, we get up and we go to class. We're not on time. We're always 10 to 15 minutes early so that they understand that.
Yeah.
So they come in as part of the culture.
Yeah.
This is how we do things here. And again, Alicia, they spend more time together than they do with our coaching staff. Yeah. But our players then also can tell them, listen, you can go in her office anytime you want and talk to her about anything and everything. Yeah. Because otherwise, I always say this, freshmen, they don't know what they don't know. They're not smart people to become sophomores because they don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So, but that's why it's up to the sophomores and the upperclassmen to help them.
Yeah.
Because they all went through it.
Yeah. And you see them leading the younger players. You see them building those relationships and creating the friendships.
Absolutely. Well, they have to.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, when we're reading our book together,
yes.
Everybody presents and helping the freshmen understand, okay, this is what you read. Just talk about what you read.
Yeah.
You don't, and just be you.
Yeah.
Just be you.
It's amazing.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So what advice would you give people about communicating and making connections with others? So, I mean, you're a coach, and I would say that you probably spend a majority of your time communicating with people and building that, the culture, the relationships, those sorts of things. So if there's someone listening, what have you learned? You said you're 63-year-old woman, and no longer care about people. What is some advice that you have about communication and relationships?
I think, Alicia, first of all, be engaged. Mm-hmm. Make sure you know the name of the person you're talking to, if that's possible. Like, I know for me, I know I've met people before, and I say, you know what, I wish I could remember your name, but I can't.
Yeah.
Coach, don't worry. I know you meet a lot of people. Well, you know what, Alicia, I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
And look them in the eye.
Yeah.
Look them in the eye. So you're not looking at the phone. You're not looking at a clock. Mm-hmm. You're not answering your phone. You're engaged in the conversation, and at least look like you care. You might be looking at somebody and they're talking, and in your mind you're thinking, "What the hell are you talking about, lady?" but you're listening.
Yeah. And
I think sometimes the more you can use somebody's name, the better.
Yeah.
And that's where sometimes I feel sorry for my players, because sometimes my mind is going so fast. I go, okay, what's your name today? Coach, my name is Callie. Yes, all day it's Callie. Callie, I need you to do this, this, and this. And it happens. Sometimes it happens. But I think that, and when you're talking to someone that you don't know and you might want to get to know, but you can ask the question, what is it that you liked about our team? Or, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do for fun? Yeah. And, if you want to know what book we read, what do you read? What motivates you? So take an interest and be engaged in the conversation. And look them in the eye. And if they don't look you in the eye, then that means maybe they're not engaged with you. Or you're looking at their body language. Yeah. And so in your own mind, well, I might need to end this conversation. Yeah. They're totally bored. And that's maybe how it is in the classroom too.
Yeah.
And if, again, when we're in the locker room.
Yeah.
And we're talking. Yeah. Or I'm with the Chippewa champions.
Yeah.
I can tell when someone's listening to what is being said. Yeah. Or I know when enough is enough. Shut up, Sue. Time to move on. But that's what I would say.
Yeah. And I think that some of the things you're referring to in the communication field we call immediacy, and it's showing that you're verbally and non-verbally I call it the 3 I's of immediacy, that you're interested, that you're involved, and that you communicate importance, right? So that's engagement, that you care, that the person in front of you is important. Right. And I would definitely say, hearing you say that and then being able to connect it to something that I know and have observing you in the time that I've known you and interacting with you, you definitely are an immediate person. Like, you always call people by their name. Maybe you need to do a couple of these.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you lady, what, But Alysa, it's interesting to me when I'm recruiting and when I'm out, I struggle a little bit with introverts.
Oh, yeah.
I do, because I want that feedback. And I'm not getting it right away. And I'm thinking, okay, what's going on? And it's like, well, you know what, Sue? Or when you have a player, come on, you guys, I want to see that you're excited. And I know I have players on my team that they're not excitable like I am. They're passionate.
Yeah.
So I've learned to look for signs.
Yeah. It's like quiet passion.
Yes, quiet passion. Yeah. Or, again, it's a gesture. It's like, and I would go, and they would just get that arm rolling. You know? So I think that's something that I've learned to do.
Yeah.
Because it was difficult for me. And again, finding out what makes them tick.
Yeah, I would say as a teacher, I see that too when you have introverts in the classroom. And I think I'm a lot like you, where I'm excitable and I'm like, well, let's do this. Yeah. But yours is maybe about basketball or the team. And I'm like, let's learn about communication theory. Yeah.
I got to say, boy, I don't know if I'd be listening to that either, Lisa. I'm teasing you. I'm only kidding. I'm teasing.
I try to make it as interesting as possible.
I believe that.
But it is, sometimes it's like, can I get some eye contact? Can I get a head nod? And so it is, but then it is, as soon as I started meeting with students and connecting with them and getting to know them, you see a little bit more. And I realize theory is not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Right, right. True.
But it is this idea that I think that they're more on board with me when they know I'm on board with them.
Bingo.
And I think that's
and they want to come to class.
Yes.
And they want to be engaged in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you talked about this has been something that you've been doing for 38 years. What are you most proud of? That wasn't on the list of questions. It was something that I thought of.
I think, Alysa, I'm just really happy when our players walk across that stage.
Which is happening in a couple days.
It's happening in a couple days. But I would tell you, over the course of the years, watching these women grow up, that's what makes it. And getting letters back.
Yeah.
I have a letter on my desk that was written to me by a former women's basketball player at Northern Illinois.
Okay. Yeah.
Who's now in the Army.
Wow.
And she watched what we did this past year. Huh. And she wrote me the nicest letter. Oh. I mean, it made me cry. I shared it with my staff. Those are the kind of things that make me happy.
Yeah.
When our players write back, or when like a Crystal Bradford, who, my hair is so gray because of CB, and I love her to death, but she'll text me or she'll call me and tell me what she's doing, because she's coaching.
Yeah.
And she's being coached over in Israel.
Yeah.
Goes, now I know everything you've been talking about. I know everything, and I find myself saying stuff that, oh my gosh, G said that. I know G said that. Those are the things that make me happy.
Yeah.
They really are. And make my chest come out.
Yeah.
To see that and to hear that.
Yeah.
I keep saying the all the trophies and the nets and all the awards or anything, that's just that's the goal, but it's not the mission of our program.
Yeah.
And
icing on the cake, perhaps.
Maybe, yeah. Icing on the cake, or in our case, ice cream on the cake.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Touche. Well, thank you so much. It's always a joy to interact with you. I've said this before, that I think you, Sue, are one of the best communicators that I have witnessed, in the sense of that you're clearly passionate and you care about other people. And as a communicator, that makes me really excited. But also as someone who enjoys sports and was never an athlete, but still can observe it, just seeing you in your role is always inspiring. And I would also say, as a woman, seeing you in your role and the things that you do and working with these young women, that is also inspiring. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time.
You know what? I appreciate it. And I appreciate what you do for our team, helping our team get ready. And so don't make me cry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, there's tissue over there in case.
That's true. So
but
true.
I will say in close that when you need the fans to get up, I'm usually the one that's up waving around a towel, screaming.
I like it. Where do you sit?
With whoever will let me sit with them. It's usually behind the bench.
Oh, okay. I see. I don't usually turn around at the bench. So, okay. I'll try and look for you next year, Alicia.
Okay.
When I need some help.
That sounds good. All right. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Coach G calls me Alysa, and I absolutely love it because it makes me feel like I'm one of her players. And much like them, I am all in. From her, I learned to be a risk taker, to be authentic, and to be engaged. I mean, honestly, why would anyone care if we don't care ourselves? I tell that to my students all the time. When you're giving a speech, if you don't care about the speech, why would anyone else care about it? So in terms of interest and care, it's infectious. And that is something that is definitely contagious from Coach G. And maybe this is a little bit back to basics of competent communication, but the simple strategies of the team being together, spending all that time together, reading books together, getting ice cream at Doozy's, which, by the way, is a Mount Pleasant classic. If you're ever in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, you need to look up Doozy's. And talking to her players in her office represent easy and true ways to get to know someone and to make connections, which are likely to help everyone thrive. But first, when thinking about friendship, you want to find people you can be your authentic self with. Or even more, being you allows you to put out there to people, like The Secret, who you are, what you want, and what you want to do. So although making friends can be hard, taking this all-in attitude may up the chances of making important connections in your life. Second, when we have friends, I think Sue teaches me that it's important to put our phones away, to make eye contact, to listen to each other, to have that quality friendship time together. Much like we discussed with immediacy, which we can communicate verbally or non-verbally, it would make a friend feel heard and valued if you're interested in what they have to say, involved in the friendship, and you show them how important they are to you. These are the 3 I's to immediacy. This might be an annoying theme throughout the podcast, but I think importance from immediacy highlights the idea of maintaining the friends who are important to us. We got to maintain those friendships. We just got to do it. We got to show people that we care. And we can do that in the things that we say, and we can do it in the things that we do, what our body communicates. There's all sorts of things that we can do to show someone else that they matter to us. Third, no matter the role, position, or relationship, there are qualities of friendship that will help us bond and connect with others, as well as build trust. So being good friends and being an aware friend is likely to help you in a wide range of areas in your life. And as I always say, we deserve to be happy, healthy, and safe. I'll repeat that for the people in the back. We deserve to be happy, healthy, and safe. And I think it's friendship qualities that may help us achieve this status. Talking to Coach G about her life coaching, how to build relationships, and about the specialness of Team 50 was the icing, or the ice cream on the cake of podcasting for me. She's an absolute joy and inspiration, and I sure hope that listening to her has sparked you in some way. Thank you for listening to Best Forevers, a podcast for kindred spirits. I'm so grateful for all the friends I've made since starting the podcast, all the support received, and for every single listen. Be sure to check out Best Forevers on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Best Forevers Pod. And please share your friendship stories by checking out bestforeverspod.com/surveys or by emailing me at bestforeverspod@gmail.com. If you're all about friendship or learning about friendship qualities that can make us be better friends, you might consider supporting the movement to love on our friends more. And the podcast has a Patreon at patreon.com/bestforeverspod. There's lots of cool perks and goals, so check it out. And if you'd like to support the cause, become a patron. I would absolutely love to call you friends with benefits. In one exciting announcement, my friend Sam and I are hosting a podcast called Fatal Friends, and it will come out this summer. So you can start to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Fatal Friends Pod. This podcast takes friendship into a different point of view. It is a true crime podcast that explores the ways that friendships can go wrong and can go to the dark side. So I sure hope you'll join us this summer when the first episode is released. But until then, follow us online and you can get announcements and you can check out cool stories that we found in the process of putting the podcast together. We're really looking forward to bringing this podcast to all of your ear holes really soon. So again, friends, let's be like Team 50 and Coach G and go all in on our friendships, because without our friends, who would we be?